What's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host of the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, in back once again for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. It's not just me, Patty P. I'm joined as always by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's poppin', girl? How we doing?
Hi.
What's going on this fine ass Thursday? A little later than
It's
usual,
going.
but yeah,
Yeah.
it's another day. It's Thursday, right before Valentine's Day weekend. That's what I've been busy with all day, and not for my own personal Valentine's Day, for work, because restaurants need their fish for their Valentine's Day menus, Sarah. So, we've been drowning
Mhm.
with the fish, but still obviously keeping up with the greatest thing that is professional wrestling. Said we'd be back on we we recorded Raw Rewind on Tuesday. Go check that out if you want to hear any of our thoughts from Raw, segment specific. I mean, obviously, we're going to have some bleed over in today's episode because today we're talking about all things wrestling. It's a super show. All right, super show. We might bring Limitless Wrestling up. Anthony Green might pop up. I don't know. You got one of your Gunther, Kit Wilson figures right there. They might come up in conversation as well.
Mhm.
So we will be bringing those up. That's what happens here in the Super Show. Nothing wrestling is off limits. That's what we do here. New things in 2026. I love it, Sarah. I love how you have the Kit Wilson figure now showing it off, and you're OG. And we got Finn, who honestly, that's
Mhm.
someone who should be your rosebud this week. That man. Did you see his latest Instagram post?
Yes.
Oh my god, so
I
funny.
don't even know what you would call it. It's like what name would that man have? I don't know.
Dwayne, Cena. There's so many. That's just like that's a tongue twister.
Dwayne the Demon Cena or something. Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Punk, CM Dina. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many. Let us know what you would think in the
Yeah.
comments below, because that was a hilarious meme. It was being sent in the what is it? The certified genuines group chat with me, Jimmy Q. Someone sent that. I was howling at that as well, because he's getting highlighted now. I got him on my screen. As we know here in the Shenanigan Shack, there is always wrestling going on in some sort of television. We got Finn Balor marathon of matches going on TVB right now, and it's actually his WrestleMania match against Bobby Lashley that is on my screen right now. We were just talking about that WrestleMania in 2019.
Mm.
Crazy, crazy time, because we are in the
I
road to
I wasn't
WrestleMania
watching
now.
at that point really, so
We really when did you fall out? Because I know when you got back in, obviously, but when did you start
it
falling out?
it was like 2017.
Okay,
2017, 2018.
okay. Do you
Yeah,
remember
like I
the
think the
last
last
few?
Raw that I went to before Mania and whatever was Raw in 2017. So
Oh wow, okay, okay. So yeah, that's a long time. In 2017, not the worst era
mhm.
either. There's some good. There's some highlights in that era. So
Yeah.
yeah, got that on the screen right now. The NWF is on in front of us, and we will be updating you with the results from that. Actually, as we're recording right now, it is the last pay per view, PLE, before the NWF WrestleMania, which will inevitably end up being called Pitsy Palooza, but that is neither here nor there. So that's going on right now, Sarah. I will update everybody with the results at the end of the show. But before we get to the end of the show, got to start the show. And the way we start the show here is by saying what's up to the peeps. We got Nathaniel rocking his new championship gear. I don't know if you're from Seattle,
Excellent.
Nathaniel, but you should have went to the parade. I hope you did, at least. Um,
Yeah.
well, I don't know what comment you said, Sophia, but don't apologize. No need for it. Don't matter. Your presence here is what's important. And here to enjoy us talking about wrestling and talk about wrestling yourself. David is here, was popping. And we got Sarah, do you know who this is? The Outlaw? Outlaw.
I
Oh,
don't know their first name.
all right.
Oh wait,
So
that's I recognize the photo,
you
but he has a
recognize the
different name.
photo?
It's just like Richard has a different name because
Oh
usually
yeah.
he had a different name before.
Yeah. Now we have everyone's full at. This one, Outlaw says, I have this weird
Yes.
feeling that Triple H is intentionally killing creative to get viewership down, to destroy WWE, so maybe TKO will sell it. Who's going to be waiting on the other side? Vince McMahon. You see, here's the thing, Outlaw. You had me. I didn't hate that
Mm,
until you said the sell it, TKO selling it, and going to Vince McMahon, because we don't live in a fantasy, unfortunately. Hello to you too. Uh,
I
but
think if
yeah,
TKO sells it, they're selling it to Saudi. So
yeah, it's the only realistic stance, or the only way to go. Creative isn't perfect, but to say Triple H is taking the show on purpose is laughable. Well, there you go. There's some little comments there. It's because here's the thing. It's tough right now with the WrestleMania show. I don't think it's tanking purposely. Obviously, that's outrageous. But I do think that Triple H is doing too much of letting it play out and just, well, whatever happens, we'll book it that day. You know, I understand the thought process behind doing that because of injuries, because of fluke things that can happen. You don't want to overplan because you don't want to shoot
mhm.
yourself in the foot. But there's a good middle ground that you can do where you can set some stories, the bigger ones, the marquee matches, up, you know, maximum year in advance. And then those little other matches that fill up the card, yeah, have that approach, you know? So, um, yeah. Um, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I think we're just I don't know. I think we're seeing kind of like the struggles right now that we have seen during Triple H's run so far because they don't have this like major story that is headlining every show, which was the bloodline. I mean, that was like his bread and butter, for like the first 2 years of when he took over in Vince McMahon's place. And I think we don't have that. And so that kind of feels like a void. And they are struggling to I guess I would say it feels like they're kind of struggling to develop new stars. Like it feels like Triple H is very much dependent on the guys of yesterday that are still around and obviously are still great, but why is Braun Breaker not like a gigantic star yet? Or whoever. I'm just the first guy that comes to mind. Like I think we're just seeing some things that um make it not as fun to watch right now. And sometimes it feels like it's a lack of effort, but we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. We can only assume.
Yeah, we only know so much, and what we know may not even be factual. There's so much hogwash and shit
Well, and
online. You can't trust anybody.
well, and I think some of the biggest stories that they've had in the past like year or two, they kind of lucked into it because we have to remember when Triple H said, I don't remember if it was on Unreal or if he kind of like just said it in an interview or something, but how early they try to book out WrestleMania. It's like months in advance. They're like, okay, this is what we want to do. And they tried to do that with WrestleMania 40, as we saw, where they were like, okay, we're gonna go with Cody, and then The Rock shows up and is like, no, you're not. I'm actually gonna be in the main event. And so they had to pivot, and then that gave them one of their best storylines of the last, I don't even know how many years. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's another thing where it's like, okay, are they scared to book too much in advance? Because I guess this is a peek into what my lemon is this week, but it does feel like there's a serious lack of excitement around Mania this year. And a lot of it is because there's nothing that's really solidified. There's no like significant story that is really leading anything. I mean, I guess you could argue it's Punk and Roman, but that's still fresh because that was just from the Rumble. It wasn't something that you kind of predicted before the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, Roman's going to show up every now and then, which is better than what it has been, but it's not going to be like as good as, Cody, Rock, Roman. Like there's nothing that's going
Mm-hmm.
to top that. And it feels like they're not necessarily putting in the effort to try and top that, if that makes sense.
Do you think it's well? Okay, going off that, do you think it's the effort, or it's the fans' perception that oh,
Mm.
they can just do shit like that every year for WrestleMania? Like that
I
was
think
such a
so okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't speak on their effort. That's just me, like interpreting what we're seeing and
Mhm.
feel, like just the vibes that you're getting. Like, I am not in that room, so like, I can't say definitively.
You ain't in
I
the room when it
can
happens.
say, I would say, definitively the other half of what you said, which is yes, I think fans are fickle, as we've said, and fans get really high expectations and thinking that creating new stories or new characters or this and that, it's like super easy. And it's not. There's a reason why people who are the stars are the biggest stars. There's a reason why others are not. And we are the reason for that. And it's like sometimes they try to give us something new and the fans don't react. So they're like not going to keep doing it. And it's like, yeah, but
Mhm.
then you're like, well, this is what we wanted. And it's like, but that's not how you responded when they teased it. So I feel like there's, they're going to obviously try to please people, but it's difficult to remake the magic that they've had before. And so I feel like because we've had some really good stuff over the past 2 years, people are still expecting that. And it
Mhm.
feels possible. I just think, even Richard is saying in the chat, something that's going to impact this year's Mania for sure is the number of injuries. That is a huge problem for this year because so many of the people who are injured are big stars. It's not just like, oh, the random dude that shows up on main event 3 times this month. It's
Yeah,
like
it
Seth
ain't
Rollins is
Berto.
still
It
out.
ain't Berto who's hurt this
Yeah.
year, you know?
Yeah. It's like Seth Rollins is out and now we know Braun Breaker is out and Bianca is still out. It's like there are a lot of big names that are going to be on the couch likely this year, and so that makes a lot of stuff like not as exciting.
Yeah. It's tough. And it there is a lack of excitement for this year because of them running it back in Vegas, and I feel that they think Vegas went as well as 40, and it didn't. What it
Yeah.
did was, let's call it. Let's just say what it is. Vegas saw how profitable bringing WrestleMania was into the city, and they wanted it to happen again. They wanted lightning to strike twice, and
It
it
feels
might
like
it might not.
they're just relying on the location and the atmosphere and the things that you can do there, and that's going to somehow elevate the show because, well, it's Las Vegas, it's fun, it's a vacation destination, like you can go and do this, things are open until 3 a.m. And it's like, yeah,
Things
but
are open
that's
twenty
not
four
what people
seven.
are there for. Like that's not why people go to WrestleMania. And it'll people will be really pissed if next year's Mania tops this year's Mania because they're going to be like, why the hell did you give us a mediocre Mania and then you just built this shit up in
Mm-hmm.
Saudi when like none of us are going to be going?
Exactly,
Like that will
and
look pretty bad.
that's why I'm telling you. Like I feel weird saying it because I don't like to choose one side of the tribalism when it comes to a brand in wrestling, but I mean, right now, AEW is taking my heart. I'm really enjoying the programming. Not only just it's the stars, the matches have been great. They're actually doing some storytelling that it just isn't in the ring. Some little bit of feuds, some rivalries brewing. Like, I mean, for last night, for example, Tekla winning the AEW Women's Championship against Chris Statlander. I was pissed. I genuinely was pissed because I'm a fan of Chris Statlander, and I believe she should be a women's world champion. But then you know, take a step back. I mean, how long has it been? It's actually been 24 hours since, and I believe from a show standpoint, it's the right thing to do with putting the belt on Tekla because she has the army, the minions in Sky Blue and Julia Hart. She was the hot signing right after Megan Bain that had just a little bit more of an edge. I don't know. But the point is that, yes, you put the belt on her, and then you have Chris Statlander story implemented already, a chase to get back, to take down something that she couldn't before. And Tommaso Ciampa lost the TNT championship last night after having two defenses.
After
and
and he only had it for what, a week or two?
he had it for 2 weeks, and I got mad. I was like, what the hell? Like, it was a great match, and he didn't lose it to fucking Brandon Cutler. He lost to Kyle freaking Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher, the protostar, is amazing. So it's fine. And I thought about it that it actually makes more sense that he lost it to Kyle Fletcher now, because now we're going to see similar. We're going to see the Ciampa that we saw in Black and Gold when he was obsessed with Goldie, the NXT title. We're going to see similarities from there. So it's all about what's the hot. Like, it's that's what's getting me right now, where they're doing the stuff that's really hitting the wrestling fan in me, and pulling on those heartstrings. Where WWE is just, it's the machine. It is what it is every year. You're gonna show up. It's the NFL. You know the major players. You know what the big days are. Like, you just know. But something about AEW right now, like, I'm just obsessed. Like, I want to watch Collision now. When did I ever want to watch Collision?
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I've said, for the most part, even recently, for the past 2 months or so, I've really only watched Raw if I watch it in its entirety, or I'm just watching clips for the people that I care about. That's it. I'm like, what's Gunther doing? What's Finn doing? It's that's all I care about, because at this point, it's nothing else is really exciting me. There's no reason for me to sit there and watch a 2.5 hour show when most of what I want to see will take 10 minutes. It's that kind of sucks to feel that way again, to feel that there's nothing beyond that worth watching. And I basically don't watch SmackDown unless I know that something really good happens. Otherwise, I'm just I look at updates and see what happened, and then I'm like, okay. It's I miss the feeling of being excited to watch both shows, but it's just not the case right now.
So, you know what? I'm actually going to do a little bit of a different thing, because 2026 has been wild. Putting on my captain of nonsense hat here, going out of order, because I have a little thing here, a little topic that I was going to bring up, and I don't want to wait. You brought up, let's just do it right now. All right. I believe that by the end of 2026, we could make you an AEW fan.
Okay.
I truly believe that you would regain that excitement for wrestling again by watching AEW. Take the feelings you have for Tony Khan or certain wrestlers, whatever, and because what they're doing right now is laying the groundwork to be stable and be consistent for years. And the wrestling they have, it's been so good. When you have guys like when you have guys like Swerve Strickland, Hangman. I feel like you'd be a big Hangman fan. Um, I mean, when he comes back, they had a promo for him, or vignette, excuse me, for him last night in Will Ospreay. And then I haven't even mentioned the GOAT, Kenny Omega, is wrestling for the AEW, is getting back in the world title picture. And then MJF is the champion. Like, you can't, it's doing very well right now. And it just needs more eyes on it and not the eyes from Twitter, if you know what I mean. Not the IWC eyes that just want to critique it because they're on the WWE team of the tribalism war, but the eyes on it that it is a good thing for the wrestling industry. So I'm telling you, I'm just
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
these few people.
I would say that now that we're going into the NFL offseason, that's when I will maybe have more interest in like exploring other things, because I think during the season, and then especially because the Patriots had such a good season,
Mm-hmm,
even if it didn't end great, um, that took up so much more of my time that I really didn't do anything else. Like, I wasn't watching TV. I was like, I wasn't able to necessarily watch Raw or SmackDown every week or on time or whatever. It's like because I had so many other things going on. So like during the off season is when I'm gonna have more time. So
mm-hmm.
if I can check out like Dynamite or something, now would be more so of the possibility of that happening.
Dynamite, even Collision too. Like, Collision's a quick 2 hours. The matches aren't so long that you're bored. They're quick enough that they keep your attention. And it's new people. It's fresh faces. I feel like you see a lot of the
Mhm.
same people over and over, and not to their own fault, but you're just like, all right, do more, do more. It's like, I'm doing as much as I can. Where you're getting some fresh faces. You're getting people. I mean, on AEW, we saw Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter to end the show to save Chris Statlander. It's nice to see them.
Mhm.
I like them. If we want to go back to WWE, it's nice to see Ivy Nile compete in a qualifying match. Like, it's nice to
Mhm.
see fresh faces to grow the brand. So I'm telling you, I feel that
Agreed.
if we give you like 2 weeks and you just watch it blindly, because we ran an experiment with this in Vegas last year when we watched Dynamite
Mhm.
and Collision, and you enjoyed it. That was some really good
Mhm.
wrestling. So
Yes.
it's there.
Well, cuz I've never said that, I've never said that it was like bad wrestling or whatever. It's just
Agreed. You
like
never.
most of the people that I've become a fan of are in WWE. So it was like, well, the only reason I'd really watch the other thing is like if I ended up being like, oh, let me see this person. But then I think it's also one of those things where it is like the tribalism isn't necessary. It can kind of deter you. Like
No,
it's
it can.
not because you're like, oh, it's the company is shit or this or whatever. It's like, oh, I don't want to be a part of that. So it's like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to stay on this side. I'm not going to intermingle. So I think that is part of it too. That's probably kind of like kept me out of it. But
I would say
I'm not
more tribalism.
against like watching and seeing how I feel. I mean, Claudio is there. So,
Claudio Castagnoli is now the CMLL World Heavyweight Champion. He comes out now. His theme song comes out to that, similar, like they all come out through the crowd essentially, but he wears a luchador mask when he comes to the ring now because he's the CMLL World Champion, which is awesome.
mm,
Like, little shit like that it really enhanced the character. All right.
yeah.
We haven't even talked about what I like this week. Actually, cause like,
We haven't
what's
talked
my
about what I
word?
liked this week either. We only talked about what I didn't like this week.
Well, so you know what, Sarah? Let's finish it off. Let's finish it off here. Where are you? There you are. You're down below here, under the 3 count. What was the best thing you saw in wrestling this week?
I think it was this past week. Maybe it was the last 2 weeks. I don't know because we weren't here. But I saw Cody Rhodes said something in an interview or something. I don't know. Um, about how he would like to see WWE bring back house shows at least one weekend a month. And I found it interesting that so many fans were like no, there's a reason why they cut it because they were on the road too much. And it's like he's literally saying just one weekend, like one loop a month. And I really do think that that would be good because not only are house shows fun or live events, premium, whatever, they call them now. Um, Not only are those fun for the fans because they don't stick with storylines, they're way more relaxed, but it also gives people more reps. So like imagine how much someone like a Maxine could benefit
Mm-hmm.
from a house show, or not even just that, right? Because like look at someone like an AJ Lee. Imagine how much she could benefit from a house show because that
Mm-hmm.
gives her more reps. That's also a thing where Becky has been criticized over the past year for some of her matches with the women. And it's like, well, they've never wrestled each other. And they now do not have house shows to kind of like work the kinks out and like get that
Mm-hmm.
chemistry going. And so I think that when TKO and WWE, I guess, I don't know if they agreed on it or what, but when they came to the decision to just completely get rid of house shows other than like once every 6 months or whatever, I think that they weren't considering that and like how it actually benefits the talent too, that it's not just something fun for the fans. It's like, no, like it's really good for them too. And the only way that you really get the only way that you really see how it would be beneficial, I guess, is when you see people botching or you
Mm-hmm.
see that like these
Yeah.
people don't have chemistry in the ring, and it's like if only they had a house show to like figure it out. And so I don't know. I would like to see them do that. Like I think once a month is would be incredible. Like and I don't think anyone like Bailey has come out and said she misses house shows. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
other wrestlers who feel the same way, so they wouldn't be against it.
Well, they're doing house shows in NXT, and that's basically where TKO feels that it is the most valuable. So it's nice to see that the
Crazy to me,
NXT
but
Performance Center wrestlers, they're getting or just NXT in general, they're getting the house show reps and still getting that sort of feeling because you're not going to get it in WWE except if you're on the holiday tour, and even then, a little different of a
or
house
in like
show.
Europe.
The European house shows are fucking wild, but they're awesome. So
It's kind of surprising to me too that they just like completely cut them out because they're all about making money. So I'm like, so you decided to get rid of shows because you think that's gonna make you more money? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
I know it
But
it doesn't at all. All right, my rosebud this week. I think it's the fact that we're going to get Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland next week, and their back and forth in the ring. Their promo battle was fire, and the fact like that the AEW world title picture involves MJF as your champion. You have Kenny Omega, Swerve, Hangman, and then Brody King being the sleepy, the dark horse, and as the fan favorite that everyone loves out of all those big names. Insane. Um, I'm excited we're going to see that. And then, um, yeah, I'll put that because I didn't get to hear anything cool from the MJF interview. I was hoping I would catch something from that today, but the day job caught me. Um, so I'll have to listen to that after we record. And then my lemon, I mean, I think I'll just, for easy purposes, I really was pissed that Chris Statlander lost. I wanted her to go on an absolute tear of a reign, but I understand what they're doing with Tekla and the Sky Blue Julia Hart, the Triangle of Madness. I think it is. I think that's their name. Um, because there's no heel like dominant heel that runs the women's division.
mhm.
Marina Shafir, I don't really put in that category because she's kind of a unicorn. Yes, she's in the women's division, obviously, but she's more like she's part of the Death Riders. Like, like
Mhm.
she rolls with them. She's not on her own. Like, yeah, she does her own matches to highlight her and work on her craft. But like, you're she's not competing for the women's world title at the moment. You know what I mean? So yeah, um, that sucked. And yeah, um, all right. Let's go into the Wrestleverse. What do we want to start with? Because we're all out of order. I wanted to talk about this actually, because and while I get the deets on it, Dakota Kai is ready to wrestle again, and she mentioned, I forget who she was being interviewed by, but she said that she is ready to fight against wrestlers in AEW or TNA. She wants to get back.
Yeah, she said something about how, like, after she was let go in WWE, that she kind of felt like she didn't have like, she didn't fit in to the wrestling community anymore, or like she didn't know her place or something. So she
Mm-hmm.
kind of lost that spark a little bit. And I think it probably is just one of those things where you feel very defeated when you are released in general, but I'm sure there is an extra element to it when you're released by WWE, because for the most part people consider WWE to be the big league, so everybody
Mm-hmm.
is trying to get to WWE. So when you get there and you're there for how long she was, and then you're just kind of like abruptly let go, it probably is pretty defeating. And she didn't, it's like, okay, or maybe she did um worked a lot, so then it just kind of, she needed a reset or something, and
Mm-hmm.
she finally got that.
Yeah, she said she didn't. She was on Busted Open today talking about it, and I know Bailey has vouched for her to get back in the
Mhm.
game. She's fighting someone. Fuck, who is she fighting? Like coming up recently, like in the near future. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
What name is she
Um,
going by? Is she still going by Dakota?
Charlie. No, she's going by Charlie
Okay.
something. I don't know what she's going to be. I think it's just Charlie, but she is. She's got a match coming up against somebody. I forget who, but she's getting back into it. 1 hour ago. Um, fuck, I just saw her too. It'll come to me. Oh, she's fighting Chris Statlander. That's who.
Oh,
I think at Pro
yeah,
Wrestling
she's
Eve.
just going by Charlie.
Yeah.
And her name is Sherry, but she
Huh.
goes by Charlie,
Yeah, that makes.
like as a nickname.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's pretty.
Interesting.
Oh, it's not at No, it is. Yeah, because Osprey and Windsor have Pro Wrestling Eve. Um, yeah, so I'm excited to see her. I would like to see her wrestle like Isaiah Brookside. That'd be a fun match. Um,
I feel I agree with Richard. I think that she fits like TNA for sure.
Oh, big TNA girl. Yeah.
Yeah, like nothing against AEW, but there's just some of them, like, when someone becomes a free agent or they're coming from WWE or something, like you feel like you can just tell where they'd thrive, and she feels like a TNA girl.
Everyone has a vibe. Everyone has a vibe.
Mhm.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
Um,
So I wouldn't be surprised if she goes there. Maybe she does some indie stuff for a
oh, thank you.
while and then goes somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe. Who knows?
I mean, I feel like when you're in WWE for, however many years, they probably do get that itch to like get into the indies again, because it's like you're in control of where you go and who you wrestle and what you're doing. Yeah, it might not be like a steady paycheck the way that it is if you work for a company, but I feel like if you go from one company to the other really quickly, you might regret it, because if you haven't had a chance to go out there and like explore the indies in a long time, you would be missing out on an opportunity to do so if you go like quickly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, all right. Next up, Undertaker made some interesting comments that you brought up to me,
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I want to dive into this a little bit because I understand what the point he's trying to make. I just wish he used different
Yeah.
details. So
Yeah, because he was basically just saying he feels like the current generation. He's spoken a lot about the current generation of wrestlers, and obviously it's going to be coming from, the old heads, like they're just old school stuff. And I don't disagree with a lot of what he's saying. Like, I think he's previously said that he's kind of shocked that people don't stay and watch the whole show. Like, that
Yeah,
once they're done, like they
that
go out
irks
there, do
me.
their thing, and then they leave. Like, I understand why that would bother him, because I do feel like if you're trying to get better, you need to watch everybody and see what they're doing. And, you got to be a student of the game. So if you're just there for yourself and then you dip, like, I get it. Like, you know,
That's weird.
but his new stuff, the new comments that he's saying on his podcast were, that he feels like the new generation of wrestlers haven't gone through enough like hardships. And he talks about how there was a benefit to some of the people who went up through FCW and NXT when Bill DeMott and Al Snow were the trainers down there. And obviously, we know, I think there was a lot more said about Bill than there ever was about Al. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I
No, you're
believe a
right.
majority of the issues and the accusations that have been made were at Bill, and that was why he was let go. Um, but using them as an example of like, oh well, they're hard asses, and like, you have to deal with them, but like they give you a hard time, so like that helps you like overcome stuff. It's like, you understand what he's saying, but it's like, let's not use those examples, because I mean there have
Don't
been
use
people who
Bill
have made some
DeMott,
pretty
man.
crazy
Like,
accusations. So I'm
I
like,
don't
I would
mind the
like to think
Alf.
that maybe he's just ignorant to what has been said about them, other than like, oh, they have a bad reputation and people didn't like them. It's like, no, it goes a little bit beyond that.
No,
So
the Al Snow, I haven't heard too much about anything he's done. Maybe one thing, but Bill DeMott, yeah, that you can't be using him as an example. That man was not
yeah,
borderline; he was abusive, and
yeah,
there's no room for that in any era. But he does have
yeah.
a point that it's a little bit of a soft mentality, and I'm more
We,
speaking about this
you
with
know
just
what?
in general, not just wrestlers,
You
but
know, one thing
people
that I
today.
think is interesting, and maybe this is plays into it. I mean, I just because if you're trying to listen to like what he's saying, like what we're doing, not just the surface level stuff, it feels like with WWE, as they've made some changes that are obviously really good for the wrestlers, where it's like they're not actively competing with each other,
Mm,
like, oh, if I get the main event I get paid more money. They're just getting paid flat. This is your salary and this is what you get paid, whether you are the opening match, whether you're the main event, or whether you're not on the show. And so I wonder if that plays a role in it, because it feels like that taking somewhat of the competition out, where you're like trying to be the main event, you're trying to be that guy, or you're trying to earn that spot. Not having that anymore, where obviously there is a little bit of it, but it's like when money's involved, it's like there's going to be more competition
oh,
there.
absolutely.
So I wonder if like, obviously it's great that they don't have to worry about what they're doing on the card, or like, oh, I'm not on the show this week, I don't get paid, whatever. Like, it's great that they don't have that, but I wonder if like that lack of competition, like underlying competition, kind of has made it feel this way too, if that makes any sense.
No, it definitely a little bit. I feel like it definitely has, in some way, shape, or form. It's just now to me the big thing is it's lighter workload for them, and
Mhm.
it's gone from lighter workload to people coming in and just taking everything lightly, and
Doing
it's
their
just a
job
different.
and leaving.
Yeah, and sometimes you do that because you have prior commitments. Sometimes you do that because you're just an asshole, and it's all about me. And we know how far
Mhm.
those people get in the industry, so we shall see.
Well, and that just goes to the people who always complain about, oh, well, so and so didn't grow up a wrestling fan. They're just here to get paychecks and get famous. And it's like, I don't think that we really have gotten into that issue yet. But I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if like this kind of stuff from like the Undertaker keeps popping up, or is like said more, if maybe even by different people. We'll
Hmm.
start hearing that again, because there are so many people that are currently in WWE, NXT, that are just former athletes, never knew about wrestling, don't know anybody, like, oh, I know John Cena and that's it, you know what I mean? But like,
Everybody knows. Yeah.
people have been very like gatekeepy when it comes to that in the past.
Hmm.
So I'm like, if this kind of stuff keeps being said, then I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that again.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Bill fucking DeMott, man. We
I
alluded
know.
to
I'm like, never thought you'd hear that name in 2026.
never hear that name. You know what's funny is that Bill DeMott, the biggest asshole in the world, douche, was named Hugh G. Morris or Hugh G. Rection in WCW.
Oh my god. Oh my
He
god.
was Hugh G. Rection in WCW, and then he was Hugh Morris in WWE for humorous, which I don't think that man has a humorous bone in his body.
Imagine being like, yes, that's my name. Thank you.
Hugh G. Rection, thank you. Yeah, I'll take that. That's me.
Yeah, that is me. That is me. Don't get it twisted, okay?
Don't get it twisted.
It's
I
not just a
am.
name, brother.
No, it's a lifestyle. I am Hugh G. Rection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 It's
WWE
like, remember,
today.
isn't there that movie where it's like there's this little kid who's like, they call him Master and his last name is Bates, and they were like, this is Master Bates. And then the
Yeah,
guy is like
that was.
cracking up because they're like, what the fuck? That's what that
What?
reminds
What
me
is
of.
your name?
Like, oh, okay. Yeah. I am Master Bates. And you're like, oh,
Okay.
cool. Okay. Have you met Hugh G. Rection? You guys sound like you'd get along.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys might be friends.
You'd get along real well.
Yeah. WWE has a meeting today, or had a meeting today, excuse me, about WrestleMania ticket sales being lower than expected. And as reported today per Fightful, Sarah, it's pretty fucking simple. Lower the ticket prices. I don't like that. That is legitimately their number one issue.
They're just completely out of touch, but we're not surprised because Tony Khan, or not Tony Khan, sorry, Nick Khan has spoken about ticket sales and whatever, like, and trying to come up with reasons why they're like, well, we're doing just everything according to the market. And it's like, yeah, you guys have millions and millions of dollars, so you do not understand that there are people out there who can't even afford groceries.
Yeah,
So
seriously.
paying like $3,000-$4,000 just to get their kids to a WrestleMania, and that's like sitting up in the worst seats possible, is not on their radar. Oh wait, we have Squirrel and Sean saying that it must be the toy with Richard Pryor. Thank y'all. But yeah, I think that I don't know that this is going to be enough for them to change anything, because obviously people are still going to go, and they fudge the numbers anyway when they announce like how many people are there. It's like, no, that's how many tickets you might have sold, but that's not how many people are there, because we saw it when we were at Mania 40 where they're like, it's sold out. It's like, no, it's not. And or even at the Raw and SmackDowns, they were not sold out.
No,
So yeah, I don't know, but I would like to think that they're going to get hit in the face soon, and they'll have some sort of realization that they need to make some big changes to the pricing, because it's only going to get worse, you know? Like, if there's so many other things going on in the world right now that is impacting people, whether it's the economy, whether it's housing, whether it's jobs, whether it's schooling or health insurance, like whatever. There's so many other things that people have to spend their money on if they have it. And a lot of people are not using their money on luxuries like going to a WrestleMania. And a big reason for that is because it's so expensive. They can't just be like, you know what, I'm going to go to Raw tonight last second. It's like, yeah, for $500, you know.
Like, I want to go to Raw in March with
Mm-hmm.
one of my chef friends, and I looked at tickets, and for us to go, it would be $500. Like
Total or each?
close to total. I think it'd be a little more than
Okay.
$500, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not even a like fantastic seat. You know, it's like an
Yeah.
okay seat, and
Yeah.
it's just going back to AEW. And to be honest, it's part of the reason why I've gained so much respect for Tony Khan over the past year, is that he makes his wrestling shows affordable for everybody, not just families, not just no, everybody can go to his shows, and they're fairly priced. And MJF, I did see this quote today, was that they're not like WWE pay-per-views. They're not. They are giant indie show cards. They are wrestling matches. They are more similar to boxing cards, where you have a long list of undercard matches before you get to your main event fights. And it is a different viewing experience because you have to let me say you're watching it from a different perspective than you would for WWE. You're watching WWE like it's a 2.5 hour, 3 hour movie, when a
Mm-hmm.
PLE comes on. When you're watching AEW, it's the closest thing you're going to get to fighting when it comes to pro wrestling. And that structure, they're going to structure it like sports, where WWE, they structure it like cinema with sports dazzling. So it's all about how they structure the show. And like,
Well, it would be easy if they just lowered the prices of their tickets, because I'm like, you guys make so much more money with
so much.
everything else. You are now having people pay $40 for a t-shirt. Okay, they used to be like $19.99. They're now $40. You also you sell, so like in general, so much merch, and then you do meet and greets, and you're charging $500 to meet John Cena. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are making so much more money with so many other things. It feels like, okay, you can cut the prices of tickets, because you would actually be making more consistent money if you cut the prices, because more people would be going. Like, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't make it fun. Like, if it's just me, like, oh, I can't go, it's like whatever. But like, I've wanted to take my nephew to a show, and it's like, I just can't wrap my head around paying like $400 for his seat just to make sure he can see. Like, it's like, that's not fair. Just not at all.
it's not. It's not fair at all. And it's
I
only
used
gonna
to not
hurt.
even pay anywhere near that much to sit front row at Raw. And now I have to pay that much just to get in the 100 level. And that's like, maybe because now they also block off the first several rows and make them premium, so they're like 1,500 a ticket for a Raw. I'm like, this is insane. That's so stupid.
It's that's
It's the
it's
one
so
thing that you can
stupid.
give Vince McMahon credit for. Okay, like,
It's the only thing.
I was sitting, yeah, it's like I was sitting front row at Raws for like $250. Like, and that was, 2010 to 2013, so I understand it was a long time ago. But I mean, the fact now that you have to pay like $10,000 to sit front row at a Raw, like,
Oh, it's fucking
that's just
stupid.
not because it was 15 years ago. I know.
No,
The fact that
no,
there are
it's
people who pay $30,000 to go to WrestleMania, that's insane.
oh, that's stupid. I will never understand those people. Like, you could turn $30,000 into 10 years of happiness and bliss. Instead, you're gonna, I'll save it all for one stressful,
Yeah,
because
spend that
it's
on
gonna be
buying a house.
you're gonna end up having a stressful weekend. When you spend that much money, everything has to go perfect, or else
Well,
you're
yeah,
not
because you
having a
also, I
weekend.
mean, well, yeah, because I mean, I guess if you have disposable money, then I guess,
Who
it
gives a
is what
shit?
it is. But, um, $30,000 is a lot of money on something that you are paying for that you don't know what you're going to get in return. Because
Mhm.
just because it's an episode of Raw, or just because it's WrestleMania, that does not guarantee anything. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a good show. So you're spending, it's a gamble. It really is. And if you're going to spend that much money on gambling, I guess you're willing to risk it. But like, I wouldn't,
True.
you know?
Yeah, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. If I'm gonna spend $30,000 on something, I need to
Oh,
know that
wow.
it's going to last me. So,
Sean says, when I was in high school, I was able to go to the In Your House Revenge of the Taker pay-per-view. I think we maybe paid $30 and we were in the third row. Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. Like, I know that even 250 or whatever, is a lot of money for Raw, but we were sitting basically where like smiley face shirt guy was.
wow.
Like, we were sitting front row for Raw, in the middle, like same thing with SmackDown. Um and it was like fairly easy. They were still considered like the premium seats or whatever they call them now.
Mm-hmm.
Um but like that, I would pay $250 in a heartbeat to sit front row now. And it's
Yeah.
not just because it's, thousands and thousands of dollars, but it feels like that's not that bad to sit front row. for, you know, a 2.5, 3 hour show.
No.
But I mean, that's a thing of the past at this point, unfortunately. So,
Yeah, when I go to the indies, like I went to Limitless for the Rumble, and I was 5 rows back for $70. I mean, granted, it is
mm-hmm.
what it, but like it's it's getting to a point where it's just so outrageous that it's only going to hurt the business, and I don't want to get to that point.
Well, and they're just,
It's,
the thing is they're so out of touch because they're all rich that they're not willing to accept the reality of the situation. And so it's like the longer they continue to deny what the issue is, then it's just going to continue to get worse. So
mm-hmm,
it's like, I don't know if you sit there and you're like, you know what, this is just what has to happen or what, but like if it's staring them right in the face. They know what it is. They just don't want to change it because they like to see the money. So I don't
mm-hmm.
know.
It's getting bad out there. It's getting bad out there, Sarah. Like that's why I love going to. I'm going to a show tomorrow where BRG is going to be in the corner of some guy. Um, but like that's just up the street of my house, and I'm gonna see two steel cage matches and probably three or four prospects in the wrestling scene. So like that's what one thing I really want to do this year with this show, and to anyone who watches and listens to our show, is that I want people to realize that WWE may be the pinnacle and what you strive for, dream of, all that, but it is not the only thing out there. And it is not
Yeah.
the only place where there are stars in the wrestling industry. Because I can
Well,
name
and if you
you
just
different ones.
appreciate like professional wrestling in general, I would definitely say to check out like your local indie
Oh my gosh.
companies and
Yeah, like
who's
so.
coming and traveling because like you know, I think at this point with the way that pricing is, if you have the money to go to WWE and that's what you want to do, then I'm not going to say don't do it. But I
Yeah.
do think that it would be fair at this point to say the best way to view WWE is at home right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you would probably feel a lot better wasting your money on pizza and wings than wasting your money on a ticket to go to WrestleMania and then being disappointed because the show sucked, you know?
Yeah.
You can go spend $50 to go see an indie show and see some pretty badass wrestling. And that would be that kind of like serves, you know, the desire to see like wrestling in person because like you might not know them, but that doesn't mean that the match is going to be bad. Or maybe you'll see this guy now, and then in 3 years you see him in AEW or WWE. Like that's a pretty cool thing too.
It is. That's what makes being a wrestling fan worth it. Like, wouldn't it, like, watching someone at the start of their career, like, put it this way, imagine you watching Seth Rollins in 2000 whatever, when he was Tyler Black in Ring of Honor, and you were like his
Mm-hmm.
biggest fan, you loved him, and then he gets signed to WWE, and you, you know now you see him, now you're a fan of him, look where he is now, he's Seth freaking Rollins. Like, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And where I'm
Yeah.
going tomorrow, this is like, Sophia brought this up. I'm going to the Pro Wrestling Super Show at Sons of Italy and Braintree. Yeah, that's where I'm going. And
Mm-hmm.
you see quality wrestling, you get an upfront ticket, and
Mm-hmm.
you you become a more, you know you become a deeper fan. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, what do we got here? All right. So what was that? Oh, who do you think should be the new general manager of NXT?
I don't know. I feel like it depends on what direction they're trying to go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like are they trying to take on a more serious GM role, which it feels like that's what they've done. Obviously, if you look at Pierce and Aldis and Ava was definitely more of a serious person, or if they're trying to do it a little bit more like comedic and whatever, which I think is kind of what they're trying to test out with Mr. Stone. as like the interim GM. So I don't know. It's so hard to say because I feel like you're like, okay, who's going to be the GM? Well, it has to be somebody that you don't envision being a wrestler, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And that's kind of harder to be like, oh, I want it to be this person because I don't want to say, oh, this person's not going to be anything. So like they should go be a GM, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I do think Chelsea Green would be an interesting one because she broke her ankle. So like go make her the GM while she can't compete, you know?
Yeah. Jerry has a connection in wrestling history with Robert Stone, so why not?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
Chelsea Green was the first name that popped up. I would really love to see her in that role. Um, I would honestly, I don't know how it could be done, but I feel that Booker T would be a good interim guy until they found
Mm.
like a
Mhm.
true, like an Adam
But
Pierce or like a Teddy Long for SmackDown, that they're staples for that brand. Until they found that person, Booker T would be hilarious in that interim
I
role.
also hate the idea of him not being on commentary though.
See, but
C-
see the thing, that's you gotta have. You gotta
Yeah.
have. So that's where I would say, yeah, don't do it. But he would be funny. Trying to think of
I
people that
feel
would
like
not
anybody that they don't I don't know,
utilize.
like I feel like it's so mean to say, but like anyone that they don't see like a bright future as a wrestler for, but there are going to be people that are in NXT that are not going to make it like on the main roster, you know? And so it's like, why not give them another opportunity? Like maybe they're really good, like a really great actor, and so they can
Mm-hmm.
pull off being a GM. You know, I mean, no disrespect to Ava, but I assume there's a reason that they stopped making her an active performer and made her a
She didn't want
GM.
to. That's
Well,
a
yeah,
yeah.
because it wasn't just like a natural thing for her. So there's going to be other people who probably feel similarly. And then they could ask, see if that works for them. I don't know. I could see this being like a pretty drawn out process, honestly. And I think that that's
Yeah.
kind of okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, it's okay for now. I would like to see how Robert Stone does in the next few
Hmm.
weeks, because I don't hate him. I know ill will.
Wasn't he like a Jersey Shore character in TNA?
Yeah, yeah, he
Okay. It's
was.
like, it's so funny to see the like turnaround, you know?
It's beauty of wrestling. You get
Yeah.
the
Wasn't he like Robbie E?
Robbie
Robbie
E.
E
That was
or
it.
something?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, it
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
Robbie E.
yeah. Okay. I was like, I remember him in that way. And now he's like slicked back hair, glasses, suit. I'm like, oh God, the way that things have changed.
Yeah, and it's just so you got a guy like that. I don't know. It would definitely
It
be.
could be good. It could be good. The only thing is that he has biases, you know? So it's like
Mm,
because he has connections to a few of the wrestlers there because of the ones that he's managing and whatever. And so
yeah,
like that kind of stuff is like interesting, but it also like plays out really fast, you know?
it
Because it's
does.
like, all right, we get it. You're gonna put this person in a favorable position and you're gonna put the person they hate in not a favorable position. So it really depends on how they go about it. Where I feel like Ava was a little bit more like cut and dry. You know, it was like she's just the GM, like the others on Raw and SmackDown. So I don't know. I mean, it feels like it's gonna go to somebody that they believe can do the job well, but also can like be that development person too, because it's still NXT at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
don't know.
Um, the only other suggestion I have is you have Robert Stone and Shawn Michaels like tag team it in a way. Have Shawn be
Mm-hmm.
more of an on-screen face for a little bit until you find someone. I want to see Shawn's social media antics, like the shit that the
Mm.
locker room has him do for social media. I want to see that
Mm-hmm.
comedic uh, side of Shawn Michaels transfer over
Mm-hmm.
or transfer back to WWE television. I feel like
Yeah.
now he's not a wrestler. He's just a backstage guy just to keep the
Yeah.
show moving. It would be very entertaining.
Yeah.
So,
I guess we'll see.
um, yeah, we got a quick 3 count here. So 1, 2, 3 count. starting with number 1, Natty and her new student. I saw this on Twitter, and I want to bring it by you, and I think it's a great idea. Natty and Maxine feud for a little bit, all right? And part of the reason being that Maxine didn't have what it took, and that she found another star pupil, and that star pupil is Carmen Petrovich.
Yeah, that would be cool. I like that. She definitely fits that vibe, of like being a fighter and being a serious person, but I do feel like she has a lot of potential also. So it feels like to kind of be under Natty's wing would be good. And also she feels like a threat to Maxine. So it feels like, okay, we're going to go from Maxine that most people might be like, oh, she's not cut out for this, or she's too sweet, like she's not tough. And then you go to another girl who gives you the completely different vibe, but she's a little bit smaller. So it's like, is she tough? Is she not tough? She's kind of tiny, but it's like she carries a fucking sword. So like, I think
That's what I
she's,
mean.
yeah,
Imagine
yeah,
Natty coming out to her new entrance, and it's Carmen Petrovich with a sword behind her. That's so
yeah,
badass.
yeah, I
That's
agree.
so badass.
Yeah, I think it
Uh,
should be somebody from NXT for sure, though.
oh no, yeah, you can't do like an Ivy Nile. If you can't, like
Yeah,
I
because
will actually.
that's a solid fit, but it also feels like a regression for Ivy. So
It would be a veteran. It would be a
yeah,
regression. It absolutely would be. All right, 2. Happy anniversary to Bray Wyatt. Today's the anniversary of when Bray Wyatt won the Elimination Chamber to become WWE champion for the first time, defeating John Cena at the time. Unfortunately, that would only be a short reign, but yeah, that was a great time in wrestling. When Bray Wyatt was champion,
it's so
it
crazy
should last
to
longer.
think about how long ago that was.
I know.
Like because
I
some
know.
things in wrestling, it's like, oh wow, it was only 2 years ago, and other times it's like, Jesus Christ, it was 9 years ago. It's
Yeah.
like, where's the time gone?
No,
Um,
seriously.
I mean, what this is gonna be? What 3 years this year? Is it 3 years or 4 years since he passed? 3 years?
3,
Like
because he
that's
was,
crazy.
yeah, he was alive during 39, but they just didn't know what was up with him.
Yeah, just crazy. But
Very
yeah, I do like that WWE still acknowledges him. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that they wouldn't necessarily, but I think he deserves to have that recognition in the same way that like they talk about Eddie Guerrero. It's like you never
Absolutely.
forget about Eddie, and I think that Bray deserves to have that same treatment because it was such an untimely, unexpected, super
Oh my God,
impactful
yes.
death that like I think fans aren't over it yet. You know what I mean? Even with
No,
Eddie,
I'm
it's
not
been
over. I'm not over
20
it yet.
it was just 20 years. And people still talk about him like he was wrestling 2 years ago, So
Yeah, because it should be.
I don't know, it's pretty cool.
I remember when I still remember vividly you calling me and telling me the news. And I know, I mean, I don't think you've ever pulled a prank on me or a rib on me, but I legitimately thought you were like fucking around with me or trying to like,
Yeah.
because it was
Well,
so out of left field that,
I know.
it, he passed. And so sad, especially when it's one of your
I
favorites.
know. Yeah. No, I know because I remember I was telling like I've never had to tell anybody something like that before,
Never
of
had to tell
like
somebody they died.
no,
Yeah.
I've never had to tell anyone. I'm always the person that's being told, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
So I've never had to say to somebody, because like I called you and I was like, hey, like I have to tell you something. It's not great news. Like, are you sitting? Just because like,
Yeah.
people pass out or like lose it. And I was like, I don't know how to say it, so I'm just going to say
I'm just
it.
gonna flat out say it.
But
I'm just gonna come out with it.
yeah, because it's like I even had to double check and I was like, there's no way this is real. And then once you saw more people saying it and like confirmed people, I was like, geez Louise,
I know.
okay. I was like, I want to be the first person to tell him because I hate finding out about stuff like that, like on the internet or
Yeah.
like someone telling you so casually. And it's like, I mean, I understand that he was a figure, it's not like you had a relationship with him or something, but you still kind of have these like parasocial type of relationships with people that you admire, you enjoy and
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like that still hurts.
Oh, it absolutely does, because Bray Wyatt was a wrestler that was not the biggest name or built up to be the big star, whatever. And I was obsessed from the
Yeah.
jump, from the first vignette. I'm like, what the hell are these guys? And as as great as the Inferno match was and his debut, like I was so intrigued at everything he did. I had to have my eyes glued to the television, and there are
Yeah.
so few people that like capture your attention with that much force. So
Yeah.
it's sad. It was very
Yeah,
sad.
for me, I was watching the original NXT. So like I literally saw him as Husky Harris cuz he was paired with dashing Cody Rhodes.
Wow.
So it was supposed to be like the juxtaposition between this handsome man and this slob Husky Harris, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Cody was so disgusted with him. So it was like, you kind of grew an affinity for him in that way. And
Mm-hmm.
then obviously having him transition from a complete failure of a character into Bray Wyatt was like really cool. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was when I was like, all right, like he wasn't my favorite by any means in NXT, but watching him grow from that was like so incredible. And then
Oh
obviously
yeah.
he became one of the greatest of all time in such a short amount of time. And that just shows you how legitimately and genuinely good he was at what he was doing. So it's like it's a great time to be able to celebrate something like this, but it also like sucks at the same time because you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we're never going to get to see something like this again. Or it's like, what would he
Mm-hmm.
be doing right now? It feels like we got robbed of some really great stuff. So that sucks.
We did. We absolutely got robbed of a longer career of Bray Wyatt, which does suck. So, unfortunately, the only time we're gonna have to see Bray Wyatt wrestle again is in the NWF, which I
Mm-hmm.
don't know actually. I haven't. We got to get him in the game. I haven't brought him into there. Anyways, what's going on in the NW? Oh, hold on, fuck yeah, not that.
It'd be funny if you downloaded Husky Harris as well.
I would like. I would if I could find it. I
he
would.
base he literally just wore black trunks.
It was just black
Like
trunks and
that
then
was
just like, oh, I had my hair done.
he
So
had longer-ish hair.
it
Yeah,
was
but
out to
like it was like
here and like
it was
everywhere.
not fixed or anything. Yeah. So,
He looked like me on a Sunday morning going
yeah.
to McDonald's after a college party. Like that's what he looked
Mhm.
like on seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll have to we got to get Bray Wyatt into the NWF maybe in 2026 because
Br-
I
Bray
got big
Wyatt,
plans for
the
that.
Fiend, and Husky Harris.
That would be a hell of a faction.
The three faces of Wyatt.
Him going up against Foley. Oh my god.
The three faces of Foley.
So why it'd be hilarious. NWF, we had our Elimination Chamber esque pay per view. It's actually in the midst of it because I have to go do my duties as Chevre and play that match. So I've not got to play that match, and we have one more. But the card so far, Liv Morgan has punched her ticket to Pitsy Palooza to challenge. Oh, it's my show, so she's going to be challenging the women's world champion. Whoever wins that match later in the show at Pitsy Palooza for the NWF Women's World Championship. The Colossal Towers in Andre the Giant and Great Khali defeated the New Age
Jeez.
Outlaws defeated the New Age Outlaws and retained the NWF Tag Team Championship. The Legends title was on the line tonight. Rey Mysterio challenged Stone Cold Steve Austin and came up unsuccessful. Stone Cold hit him with a stunner and pinned him 1, 2, 3 to get the win. The TBD, or as we call it here, the NNO, No Nights Off Championship was on the line. And as we all know, the NNO title is always fought under extreme rules. Piper Niven challenged champion Penta for the NNO championship. Penta ended up winning after hitting Piper with a move outside through a table. It was great. Tony Storm is going to be challenging, or Liv Morgan is going to be challenging Tony Storm at Pitsy Palooza for the women's championship. Tony Storm defeated Julia in a nice one-on-one contest. She hits Storm Zero for the win. Gunther and Cena brawled in a Falls Count Anywhere match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Kendo sticks were involved, baseball bats, and FUs, because I'm using the '07 Cena. FUs were hit, but ultimately Gunther would get the win, and he will be going to Pitsy Palooza. Tegan Knox defeated Jada Parker to become the new Women's United States Champion. That's all I got in that match. And before we go, we have the main event, which is Penta again. Okay, interesting. Finn Balor, LA Knight, Roman Reigns, Cody, and Braun Breaker. Winner of that will be challenging Gunther at Pitsy Palooza for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sarah, that's your show. Who do you want to see out of that go to take on Gunther at Pitsy Palooza?
Fergal.
You want Fergie?
Yeah.
Taking on Gunther at Pitsy Palooza for the World Heavyweight Championship. We'll see. We got LA Knight, Braun Breaker, a lot of good names in that. We'll see, because whoever wins this match will be facing Triple H at Pitsy Palooza. He won the Royal Rumble that we just had. Did we have a? No, your champion didn't fight. It's you. The bad gal's the champion. You didn't fight at this pay-per-view. So
that's right. I was like, you know what? Nah. I get the night off.
No, you do, because you know why? You know who you're facing at Pitsy Palooza?
No.
Charlotte Flair, your favorite person ever, because she won the Rumble.
Oh, Lord.
And she's on your show. So, good for you.
Awesome.
We got a double title match up next after we conclude here. My guy, Chevrolet, he's putting up the NWF Championship against Kenny Omega, who is the galactic, multi-galactic, I forget what the title is, secondary championship. He's that champion, and I want both titles. If you're going to fight for mine, I want yours. So, double title match before the main event. What a show. I'll be streaming it probably tomorrow at this point, or today. Who knows? That's why you got to go to twitch.com/Nonsense Sports Network and hit that subscribe button so that you don't need to go to, we let you know when we go live. So, yeah. That's a good segue into the end of the show and where you can go to get more NNO content. Hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we go live and post. And then follow us on social media at SMarshXO and at Patty Pitts on all social medias. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All I got to do is try. See you next week.